Hey everyone, good morning from the beautiful overcast islands of the Philippines. I want to welcome you back to my channel and welcome to the new norm. But I'm not that paranoid, so I don't need to talk to you guys with a mask, but it's the new norm, right? Anyways, I don't like wearing masks, but nonetheless, if I don't wear it, can I get the mission done? So I want to welcome you back to my channel. Again, if you like these videos, you know what to do, right? Thumbs up, leave a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, whether it be Canada, Kansas, California, Brooks Point, Philippines, yeah, wherever, India, Germany, just leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Um, Subscribe to the channel. We always welcome subscribers. Hit the bell so every time I upload a video, you will get a notification in your email and you can run over, catch it while it's fresh. So, welcome to episode 18. Unbelievable. Yes, 18 weeks now we have been doing this, and it's always a blessing to share with you guys what's happening. The theme for this week is weather, and we had some up, down, up moments, some awesome moments, some challenging moments, etc. And without further ado, I just want to share those experiences with you this week. So, came back after a week off from flying and helping out in that project. Go see episode 17 if you want to know what I was doing last week. Um, Came back, and this was the runway that greeted me. One of our missionary volunteers here took it upon himself, and he went to work cutting the side of the runway. They mowed the grass, and as a pilot flying, when you come in on your approach and you're looking for the runway, the clearer it is, the better and the easier you can see it from the air. So it was a blessing to see some work being done on the project. Weather this week was marginal weather, VFR weather, challenging weather, etc. But nonetheless, I was able to get some flights done. First mission here is this baby and the mother. They have a beautiful story. I shared it on my Facebook page. So again, if you're a Facebook user, go over to my Facebook page, look up Flying by Faith, right? I have about 950 followers so far. So I post there what progresses during the week, and then on my YouTube channel you get the whole week. So if you don't want to wait until the end of the week and you want to catch them when they're fresh, just subscribe to my Facebook page, Flying by Faith, and also my Instagram, Flying by Faith, and you get them fresh. Because sometimes you're going through the week, you might be down and discouraged, especially if you're a financial supporter of these missionary efforts. It's good when you can constantly see where your prayers and your support goes to. So again, if you're a Facebook user, just encourage you to like my Facebook page, follow it, and you will get these stories when they're really fresh. So I started out the week. This is the first mission. This mother took the airplane earlier. She was having complications with the baby inside. I think they said the baby had pooped inside the womb. So usually when that happens, it can bring a poisonous situation for mom and baby. So praise the Lord for them. They took the airplane. They got out, and according to the doctor, if they had delayed, say, 1 hour more, both mom and mom and baby would have possibly have died from that poisoning situation. So the airplane really helped to save this little guy's life. Um, so it was a blessing to transport them back home. So this photo was taken when I was getting ready to transport them home. Mom Wang again picked her up this week to take her in because she's having a meeting with the ABTAs, or the Isolated Filipinos. She's the president for that as a government official, and she helps us extensively with coordinating these flights. So I dropped her off this week, and that's mom, dad, and the baby from that successful story. Previously, another mission here, another pregnant lady. was having complications as well, pretty much ripe for the picking. And I was able to transport her and her family member out so that they can get some help. This is Dr. Achenza. This week she came out. Last week she went out. She got her medical supplies, and I was privileged to transport her back to her post along with another watcher. This is one of the relatives from one of the success story where babies were given birth to and they are returning home. So it's always a blessing when we transport the doctors and their supplies because you get an opportunity to talk with them, interact with them. They will share with you what's happening in the communities. Um, Being on the airplane, you kind of have an idea as well the weight of those flights because they have these supplies. They want to go in, and I think it was about 100. About 140 pounds of cargo that she had that she was taking. And if you look on the box, it says DOH there, which is Department of Health. So definitely was a blessing to help her. We have another gentleman here. This is a returning patient with the relative heading back home. Another successful story. They got some help, and I was able to transport them back home. One more pregnant lady again this week. Yeah, a lot of pregnant lady was able to ride on the airplane, and I like it because they're kind of like some of my most of my patients are actually pregnancy patients because as I told you in previous episode, these areas don't have an ultrasound machine. Some areas don't even have a hospital. So any sign of danger or trouble with a pregnancy, those mothers know their best option is to go out, and the only means of transportation right now is flying. So we're always transporting them, and when they give birth they will ask for our help again because that's a part of our um, ministry. So these are two patients. One pregnant lady, the patient here in the middle, is heading out to get some checkup. After helping those individuals, Pastor Melky, my contact here in Palanan, him and his family was coming out to get some transactions done in town here because where he lives and work, it's a little off grid, so he needed to get out temporarily to get some things sorted out and also to make some contact with the conference. So he's a Seventh-day Adventist pastor where every now and then he has to get out to make contact back with the conference office, get supplies, etc., submit report, get updates and different things, and then go back in. So I transported him and his family and accompanying him. Picture is a little dark because we took it against the light, but basically accompanying him, we have a patient and a stranded little girl that was tagging along with him. I transported Mom Wing back out of her area, so I had dropped her off to go meet with the actors, and then she brought all these actors bags, like three kids and an adult. They were really happy with the flight. They loved the experience, etc. And she just rescue these kids and these families all the time. Sometimes she'll take them to her house. As a matter of fact, they didn't have anyone to pick them up. So after I landed and they got off the airplane, I realized they didn't have service. So I figured I already know the drill. Once no vehicle is waiting for her and whoever is with her, I automatically know I'm gonna have to jump in the patrol and take them into town, which is about a 45-minute drive. So I transported them and she actually took them home. So they have their rice and their luggage and so on, just gonna stay with her. After transporting her, the weather started picking up. The weather started getting chaotic, heavy rain, thunderstorm, and when it's like this, I I cannot fly. This is way beyond my comfort zone. You have heavy rain and zero visibility, so I just could not fly for 2 days this week. Finally the weather opened up and I was able to do a mission. I was going in for some patients who were waiting for 2 days, and going in there, I transported this engine. Now, this is an engine for a boat. Basically, there's some other ministries there, other missionaries. I think they're Adventist Frontier Missionaries, AFM or PFM, Philippine Frontier Missionary. Not sure what name they go by, but they have to be traveling up and down between these different villages, and there's a river that runs in connection to those villages. So instead of hiking for how many hours all the time up and down, they decided to try and invest in a boat to help make things a little more convenient and speedy, because when it's a rainy season like it is now, the river begins to overflow and it makes hiking impossible. So if they have a boat, at least they can ride on the water to go from village to village. I was able to transport that for those missionaries. The weather was bad, so Pastor Mel, I just said, okay, I can't fly, so why not put him in the studio to get his story. So this is a long awaited interview. We took the footage. It's still raw. It still needs to be edited, etc. But if you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel, you can't afford to miss this interview. Basically, I give you a summary. He shares with us what was ministry like when he got to that coastal town, what are some of the challenges he faced, and how miraculously the aviation ministry came to the area. He formed a friendship and relationship or partnered with the aviation efforts, and it has brought tremendous fruits. You have to hear his story from his lips for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Weather again continues to just deteriorate. So it went from bad to worse. Days I cannot fly. So I said, you know what? Let me go get some work done on the airplane. So I washed it and just waxed the thing all nice and shiny because I like detailing stuff. Um, I wasn't able to transport Pastor Mel home, so he ended up was scheduled to give a speaking appointment online, and I said to him, "Hey, I have a studio here. It's all, it's not that fancy, but it works, as you guys can see the videos each week." So he's like, "Yeah, sure." And I put him in there, get everything going, and he was so grateful that he could share live, because usually what he would do when the conference invites him to share his presentation, he would record it and then send it to them through Messenger, and then they would play it when they're doing their feed. But this time he was able to sit in, have it live, which it was in his own language, but you could just tell his heart was in it, because live is a little different from a pre-recorded presentation. So that was a huge blessing. I continue to just explore with different camera angles, just trying to critique my landing. So I've gotten used cameras and I just mount them up, take some photos and footage, etc., so that I can learn more. One story that stood out to me this week is this little girl. Basically, the COVID pandemic caused her to be separated from her family. So I think what happened was she visited relatives, the pandemic happened, went into a lockdown situation, and her age was on that list of you can't travel. So I think they've been petitioning for months and months and months to get her back to reconnect with her family. So finally, she boarded the airplane and I was able to take her home. I remember she would just stare out the window and then she turned her head inside just covered in tears. And I'm like, I don't know what she's looking at out there, but she was just be crying, and I give her the thumbs up. She gives me the thumbs up. She dries her tears, and then she would fall asleep. And then she wakes up again. She stares out the window, and finally I got her to her destination. So it was just a blessing. The dad came to the airport. He met me, shook my hand, told me how grateful he was for transporting his daughter, and she was really happy to see her family again. So this one was not a patient, but it was just an amazing experience to help families to be reconnected with each other. This is Deputy Chief of Police for Palanan. Every so often, he'll go in 2, 3 weeks, um, get his work done, and then he would go back out to be with his family. Usually, he rides with me all the way back to base because he lives close to us. So, he's usually my only little companion to get back to base because usually the missions that I do is not from the base itself. So, when I'm done transporting everyone, I come back on that solo flight. So, I'll go to that major airport and I pick up, drop off various trips. And then last trip home, I'm usually by myself. But because he lives close to the airbase here where we are located, he will tag along for that flight. And then someone will pick him up at the airport. In my little home, I have this little corner here, and if you look on it, it's just stacks of vegan cookbooks that my wife explore with all these things. But on top of it is my little, I would say, mission statement: do the work and God will provide the means. It's my favorite part of the house. I pass this thing every day because I go throughout life, I have various challenges, financial challenges, housing, there's so many different challenges. But I'm constantly reminded every day when I'm in this house moving around, just keep doing the work and God will continue to provide the means. I'm glad that I saw that because this week we checked the logbook and the maintenance logbook for the airplane, and it turns out that it's coming up on the to be overhaul time. Where when you have these engines, you run them for at least about 2,000 hours, and when it gets to 2,000 hours, you start looking for it to start falling apart piece by piece. So your temperatures and your cylinders and all those things you have to really monitor. So a safety feature of an airplane is every 2,000 hours you need to pull it down, check everything, send stuff back to the US to have them check it, tag it, label it, and then send it back to you. History has shown that in this ministry, the airplane sometimes is down for months due to overhaul. So right now we are really praying and asking the Lord to open up an avenue that when this thing comes, like we checked it, it has about 500 hours left on it before it needs to be pulled down and pull apart. And just from my experience, I've noticed that when we don't operate for a day or two, oftentimes some of the patients they die from their injuries. They're not able to get out on time, and some of them they die before we can go back to flying when the weather clears up. So I just begin to imagine to myself, if for 2 days I don't fly and patients are dying, imagine 6 months, 5 months, 3 months, imagine just a month, how many lives would be lost. If most of my patients are pregnant women having complicated birth experience, no ultrasound someplace, no hospital, I just don't even want to imagine the repercussions. So we have been already doing some research, praying, and you're gonna hear more about that when the time comes. But that's something we definitely want to keep in mind. And the reason why I'm starting out on this early is because I am flying an average of 20 hours per week. The last month I've been doing 20 hours. We are changing the oil every 100 hours. We do an oil change, oil filter change. We check the spark plugs on the thing and some other different areas. Every 6 weeks, we're doing an 100-hour oil change. So if I keep going at this pace in the next 7.5 months, this airplane is gonna be grounded unless the Lord miraculously help us financially to not ever be down for too long. So you'll hear more about that, as I said, If you like what we do, we encourage you to go over to my website. There's the breakdown of the needs. There's personal needs. There's the aircraft needs. We always appreciate the gifts, the prayers, the encouragement, the notes that you guys send through Facebook, via email, the donation through Venmo, etc. We're always grateful for what you guys continue to share with us. When it comes to this weather and why I personally don't like the airplane when it's down is that weather was really bad this week. I didn't get to fly 2 days. There was a request for a 25-year-old female. When I was away last week, my director flew her to the hospital, and then I got back and I got a request 2 days ago asking me to transport her back home because the sickness is so far gone that the kidneys have failed and she's now worried that she's not going to live. So she didn't want to die in the hospital. So she sent in a request asking that we transport her back home so she can see her two kids and die there instead of the hospital. Well, I didn't have any control over the weather. The weather was really bad and I couldn't do anything. I got a text message yesterday morning, Thursday morning. I got a text message saying, no, Friday morning, I got a text message saying that she has died from her illness. The mission is still not yet complete. She was 25 years old, two kids left behind, and we want to extend our condolences to the family. Tomorrow, God's willing, weather permitting, I'm going to be transporting the body back home. It's going to be a long flight over the waters. I'm going to be at least an hour and a half flight to get her back home for her funeral. It's gonna be a sad day, but that's the dynamics of our ministry. When we can't fly, sometimes a day or two, I see the results, and that's why I'm really agonizing with the Lord that prayerfully I ask the Lord to help me that this airplane will always be airworthy, always on par, the parts are always good, etc. So we just ask you to continue to pray for us. We're going into that challenging weather situation where heavy rain, zero visibility. So on those days we can't fly, and we just want to extend our prayers more, asking that the illnesses will reduce and that people will kind of like take care of themselves as much as they can. And when illnesses do come up beyond the people's control, that God will open up the weather in such a way that we can do some more flying and continue to help to save lives and to deliver hope. So, on behalf of Philippines Adventist Medical Aviation Services, yours truly, Davin Bennett, flying by faith, and we just continue to say thank you so much for your prayers, for your support. Continue to partner with us, continue to pray with us. And we have some exciting news coming up. Yes, as I said, more and more exciting news continue to come our way. But I don't want to just tell you, it is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So come next week, the Washington Post, they had an interview with me online. They're gonna be featuring my story on Washington Post, which I'm like, yes, I may go viral from that article or that video. They're coming next week. We're gonna shoot some photos. They're gonna get capture my story some more. So you have to stay tuned for that. There is a donated airplane that is given to us. A second airplane is being donated next week. They're gonna visit so we can check it out, check it maintenance wise. I'm gonna be the one flying that. So the Lord is doing amazing things, beloved friends, and it's solely because you have been praying, you have been giving your support, and I just want to continue to do these reports to let you know that God continues to provide because you are praying and He's using you and your family. So thank you again and mabuhay from the Philippines. God bless and take care. See you episode 19.